We're not your damn subjects. We are your bosses. We are the citizens of Dalton. And you will not continue to treat us like this because you are on the way out.
Where they lead, without bias. At the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
The political turmoil surrounding Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has taken a dramatic turn. The small South suburban village has become a battleground, with residents demanding answers and accountability for what they perceive as financial mismanagement, disregard for public opinion, and a growing sense of disdain toward their elected leader. Henyard's time in office has been marked by controversy, legal battles, and allegations of corruption, creating a tense atmosphere in Dalton as tensions escalate. Residents are now questioning whether Henyard will remain in power or whether they can finally enact the change they believe the village desperately needs. This political crisis reached its peak at a recent Dalton Village Board meeting, which became a microcosm of the broader discontent plaguing the village. What should have been a routine gathering of local leaders turned into a fiery spectacle, with residents voicing their frustrations directly at the mayor. It was clear that Dalton's residents had reached a breaking point and were no longer willing to remain silent, as their mayor governed in a manner that seemed disconnected from their needs. At the heart of the controversy is Mayor Tiffany Henyard's alleged mismanagement of Dalton's finances. Claims of financial waste, extravagant spending, and the misallocation of taxpayer funds have sparked an FBI investigation. Claims of malicious intention. Henyard's leadership, once seen as a beacon of hope for the village, is now mired in accusations of corruption and a disregard for the very people she vowed to serve. The distrust among Dalton residents is palpable, and as they air their grievances at public meetings, it's clear that their actions have turned into a movement demanding accountability. The breaking point came during a disastrous village board meeting. The meeting, which was supposed to begin at 7 p.m., was delayed by 30 minutes, and Henyard was nowhere to be found. The patience of Dalton's residents had run out. The lack of punctuality was seen as a direct slight against the people of Dalton, who had taken time out of their lives to attend the meeting. One resident sarcastically remarked that the good old days of timely meetings were long gone, a sentiment echoed by many in the room. For the people of Dalton, this was more than just a scheduling issue. It was a symptom of a larger problem with Henyard's leadership. When Henyard finally arrived, the tension in the room was already palpable. The delay had only fueled the anger, and as the meeting proceeded, it quickly became clear that the residents had a long list of grievances to air. One by one, they took to the microphone, and their criticisms were direct and forceful. There were no soft-spoken requests for improvements, only passionate demands for change. Residents expressed their concerns about Henyard's failure to represent their interests, accusing her of financial mismanagement, a lack of transparency, and a general disregard for public concerns. Some even called for Henyard to step down, using the phrase "clean house" as a rallying cry for change. The frustration was raw and personal. This wasn't just about poor policy decisions. It was about a complete breakdown of trust between the mayor and her constituents.
This is your super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor. We out here taking care of the business.
At the heart of the political turmoil in Dalton, Illinois, is Mayor Tiffany Henyard's response to mounting criticism. Instead of acknowledging the concerns of residents, she has repeatedly responded with defiance and arrogance. During a recent village board meeting, Henyard dismissed the criticisms as unbelievable and deemed the disrespect shown toward her as unjustified. Her response did little to calm the situation. In fact, it only fanned the flames of discontent. Many in the community felt she was completely detached from the reality they were experiencing, and her dismissive attitude only deepened residents' frustration. Rather than empathizing with her constituents, Henyard doubled down, confidently asserting that she would win another term as mayor. In a bold and somewhat baffling move, she even compared herself to former President Donald Trump, claiming her victory would be just as resounding as Trump's supposed landslide win in the 2020 election. This declaration, laden with self-assurance, seemed more about deflection than any actual acknowledgement of the deepening crisis. Henyard appeared to believe that, despite the growing chorus of criticism and the serious investigations surrounding her, she was untouchable. Her stance implied that the voices of Dalton's residents didn't matter, and that she could continue in office regardless of any challenges or allegations. For many, her assertion of invincibility further confirmed a disturbing pattern of arrogance and self-interest, fueling the perception that Henyard was no longer working for the people of Dalton, but rather for herself. The situation in Dalton is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader and more troubling pattern of financial mismanagement and legal troubles under Henyard's leadership. The village is currently under investigation by the FBI for allegations of financial mismanagement and the misuse of taxpayer funds. These investigations have raised serious questions about how Henyard has handled Dalton's budget and whether she has prioritized her personal interests over those of the community she was elected to serve. In light of these ongoing probes, residents have been calling for greater transparency and accountability, with many demanding that Henyard step down in favor of someone who could more responsibly manage the village's finances and resources. But it's not just financial mismanagement that has residents concerned. Henyard's administration has been mired by a series of legal challenges. Among the most notable are accusations that she made illegal appointments and engaged in questionable practices regarding the scheduling of village board meetings. These legal issues have added to the sense of dysfunction and instability within the village, distracting from the real work that needs to be done in Dalton. Rather than addressing the growing number of concerns or focusing on the village's pressing issues, Henyard has been consumed by a series of courtroom dramas that seem to do little more than undermine her credibility and further erode public trust. Another key issue that has fueled dissatisfaction with Henyard's leadership is her lavish spending habits. Her extensive self-promotion and extravagant expenditures, which many see as indicative of a mayor more interested in building her personal brand than serving the people of Dalton, are glaring examples of this self-aggrandizement. The proliferation of billboards featuring Henyard's face, accompanied by slogans like "Super Mayor" and "The People's Choice," has raised eyebrows. These billboards, which have appeared throughout Dalton, are seen by many as an abuse of taxpayer funds for the purpose of Henyard's own political gain. Residents have expressed frustration that their hard-earned tax dollars are being used to fund Henyard's political ambitions rather than address the community's actual needs. This perception of Henyard as self-serving and disconnected from the concerns of her constituents is further compounded by her role as Thornton Township Supervisor. In both Dalton and Thornton, Henyard has been accused of prioritizing her political gain over the well-being of the people she was elected to serve. In both positions, she has faced accusations of extravagant spending, a lack of transparency, and an overall disregard for the needs of the residents in each jurisdiction. The backlash against Henyard in Thornton has been just as severe, with trustees voicing concerns about her spending habits, leading to boycotts of township board meetings and a general standstill in township business. The political and legal battles, combined with financial mismanagement, have cast a long shadow over her leadership, and her increasingly defiant and dismissive attitude has alienated the community. The battle for control of the political landscape in Dalton is more than a mere clash of personalities. It's a high-stakes struggle for power and the future of the village. Henyard's administration has been marked by an ongoing feud with the Dalton Village Board of Trustees, many members of which have voiced their dissatisfaction with her leadership. Tension between the mayor and the trustees has only escalated, and a recent village board meeting exemplified the dysfunction plaguing Dalton's local government. A quorum was not met due to the absence of key trustees, rendering the meeting ineffective. No official business could be conducted, including crucial matters like paying the village's bills. This political gridlock has created a profound sense of uncertainty in Dalton. The inability to carry out basic functions, such as managing finances or making decisions, highlights the severe division within the village's government. It's evident that Henyard and the board are at an impasse, with cooperation between them becoming increasingly unlikely. The lack of progress is a constant reminder to residents that the political crisis in Dalton is far from over. For the people of Dalton, this dysfunction is not a theoretical issue. It affects their daily lives. Bills go unpaid, essential decisions go unmade, and the village seems to be in a constant state of crisis. Henyard's continued defiance in the face of criticism only compounds the problem. She has repeatedly demonstrated an unwillingness to acknowledge the severity of the situation, often responding to the growing calls for change with arrogance and dismissal. The road ahead is uncertain, but the stakes are high. The political situation in Dalton is far from resolved, and the ongoing FBI investigation, combined with a series of legal battles, means that the future of Henyard's administration remains uncertain. These investigations could ultimately determine whether Henyard will be able to retain her position as mayor, or whether the residents of Dalton will succeed in forcing her out of office. The next election will likely be a pivotal moment in the battle for Dalton's future. Henyard's political survival hinges on her ability to rally enough support to secure another term, despite the growing discontent in the community. While she remains confident in her ability to win another term, the increasing frustration of Dalton's residents suggests that the situation is reaching a tipping point. The calls for her removal have only grown louder, and her defiant posture in the face of mounting criticism may only serve to alienate more voters. For the residents of Dalton, the upcoming election represents a chance for change. It will be a critical test of whether Henyard's political machine can withstand the pressure of a united community demanding accountability. If the current tide of anger and dissatisfaction is any indication, Henyard's days in power may be numbered. The people of Dalton are watching closely, and the outcome of the next election could reshape the political landscape of the village for years to come.